What's up, everyone? Press pause. It's time to talk about the gaming industry. My name is TJ Leo. This is Balestorm, and this is the inaugural episode of the Press Pause Gaming Podcast. Something that we've been trying to do for like years at this point. I think the idea has been floating around, and finally the stars have aligned, and we can
Finally made
finally get it done. So for those that are tuning in, technically it's the first time for everybody tuning in. This is a podcast that's all about the gaming industry. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about new games that are out. We're going to talk about what we're playing. Give our thoughts on everything about the gaming industry from top to bottom, basically. This particular episode, though, is a little different. We could have just jumped into the news, and talked about stuff that's happening as of late. But I think the best way to kind of kick off the podcast is actually to just talk about the industry as a whole, kind of talk about the state of the industry itself, go through each of the big companies, see how they're doing, what do they have cooking, how they're doing this generation, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where we're going to focus on most of today's episode. But before we get into that, are you playing any games right now, Balestorm? What games are you playing currently? I'm curious.
Currently, I am engaged in Hades 2 because it was finally released.
Okay. Yeah.
And the fighting in that game is it's so addictive.
Yeah.
I'm loving the magic system. It's so different from Hades, actually.
Okay.
The way the fighting works. So I'm thoroughly impressed every time Supergiant releases something.
Yeah, they haven't. I don't think they've had a single miss yet. All of their games have been fantastic, but Hades is definitely their crowning achievement. It broke through the zeitgeist, and even I played it. And I'm not a roguelike,
No,
fan.
This was the first roguelike game that really got me hooked into the idea too.
Me too. And I would probably call it a roguelite. Because you do keep progression, right? Hardcore roguelikes, you play it and you don't gain anything when you lose, you just try again. Whereas this game, the story continuously evolved. Like, I couldn't believe how much dialogue was in that game. It was insane.
There's so much hidden dialogue, and I love it too because it goes at whatever pace you go at. There's no rush. There's always more to uncover, no matter what pace you're going at.
Yeah, Hades is fantastic. You. Yeah, absolutely. Who do you play as? I know nothing about Hades 2 besides it's the sequel to Hades. I know nothing.
It's actually Zagreus' sister, technically. Because the end of Hades, you get the family back together, basically.
Right.
So now
I don't think I played far enough to get there. No? I remember beating Hades, and then I remember finding the mom.
Yep.
And then I played for several more rounds after that, and then got distracted by the next game.
Yeah.
But if you continue long enough, you beat everyone. Kind of comes together, like Hades and your mom and everyone, or just particular characters.
There is
spoiler alert.
Not all of them come they don't start living in the underworld, but there is an after credit scene where all the gods meet up, and there's
I see.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I really want to play Hades too, but I try to avoid early access as much as I can and just wait for the final release.
I contemplated that, but I was too excited.
Yeah, the only game that I've played in early access is Valheim. That's the only real one, and I kind of regret it, honestly, because it's so good, but it's never done.
I mean, Hades 2 is early access, but to me it doesn't feel early access. It's so Supergiant just keeps it so well polished.
I've heard about that, but it's practically a beta, more than it is in early access. So yeah, I can't wait to play that game. That's gonna be a great one.
So what are you playing?
I'm not playing anything current. I finished Chants of Sennaar recently. which was fantastic. That's a crazy game. If you haven't played that, if you're a puzzle fan, definitely play it. It won a BAFTA award, which is crazy. It's all about deciphering these languages that they made in the game and working your way through and just discovering the mystery that's behind all of these people and all the different languages that you have to learn. And it's so rewarding. Like, it's so well written, and just it's one of the best puzzle games I've ever played. It's so good. It's really good.
That is so cool. Actually, I want to add that to my list now.
Definitely recommend it if you like that kind of style. Like, there's no combat, nothing like that. There's a little bit of stealth and that kind of thing, but the 90% of it is talking to people, looking at the environment, trying to figure out what these symbols mean, deciphering them. It's really well done. It's really
I love that.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. But honestly, what I'm playing right now is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
Which is old, but I played it when it first came out, and I loved it. I don't think it was my favorite Assassin's Creed game. Odyssey is my favorite.
Yeah.
But I saw the reveal of the next Assassin's Creed game, which we'll talk about later in the show, and I was like, oh man, I'm dying for some Assassin's Creed right now.
Back into it.
So I got back into it, and then I realized how much extra content they put into it since then, which is insane. It's like 10 times bigger than the original game was. It's bonkers. So I'm deep into that right now.
I want to get properly back into Assassin's Creed because I feel like I kind of fell off.
You fell off the train. What was the last one that you really played?
I don't remember which one it was. Honestly, it
wasn't one of the modern ones that changed up the formula.
I think it was one of the modern ones.
Okay, so there was Origins, which was the Egypt one, and then there was Odyssey, which was Greek, and then Valhalla.
Yeah, I think it was Origins.
The Egypt one.
Yeah, that one was good.
I don't blame you for falling off on that one.
Yeah,
I fell off it on that one as well for a bit, and then I played Odyssey, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." And people were like, if you like this, you'll love Origins. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember liking it. And then I went back and played it, and I'm like, oh, yeah. It's exactly like Odyssey, just without a ship.
Oh.
So if you play Odyssey and you like it, I would go back and play Origins, because it's pretty good. But yeah, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've played them all. Well, I shouldn't say that. I haven't played some of the smaller stuff like Liberation, which was the Vita game. I think it was Vita.
Oh, yeah. I've not a lot of people played the Vita games.
No.
Yeah, Vita was it was a failure.
Don't get me wrong, the Vita itself, fantastic device. I have one. It's amazing. But they didn't support it enough, and people didn't adopt to it.
Yeah.
Par for the course when it comes to Sony peripherals.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later as well. Cool. All right, well, then let's get into it. Let's get into the state of the gaming industry, which is our topic of the week. And let's kick it off with PlayStation, as long as we're on that topic. So, PlayStation right now has the PS5 out in the wilderness. They got the PSVR 2 out in the wilderness. And they've also got the PlayStation Portal device, which just came out 6 months ago, I want to say. Maybe less. And it's kicking ass, to put it mildly. It is outselling Xbox by 5-1. It is crushing Xbox. I think the latest report had it at 60 million units sold. We're about halfway through the generation. It's killing. And I don't really know why.
I mean, I've always been a big fan of Sony in general. I don't have a lot of physical games right now just because I don't have money for it. But
it's expensive.
I want a PS5, and I've always been on Sony's side, so I'm kind of proud. I'm not engaged in that war anymore. But
I'm very on the fence when it comes to this generation in general. I think it's the strangest generation that we've had ever, because they've had one foot in last generation since the PlayStation 5 came out. And we're now halfway through the generation. They've confirmed that. We're 4 years in, and so many of the games are cross-gen still.
Yeah.
Like even the newly announced Call of Duty is cross-gen. 4 years into the next generation, we still don't have a next-gen Call of Duty. It just doesn't exist. That's crazy. I can't believe that we're still that far back. But a recent financial report from Sony came out, which we're going to go probably into another week. It was really detailed. But 50% of the active PlayStation users are still in PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I understand why, because they don't have a reason to upgrade right now. They really don't. Like if you have a PS4 Pro, what are you missing? You're probably missing Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, a Rift Apart. Oh, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, it's all I can. I mean, there might be another one or two, but like, you can get away with still being in the last generation right now, which is crazy to me. That after 4 years, that's still
like if you're not that engaged in those games, like why not just
stick around,
save your money, wait.
I think I get it from like a business standpoint. They're like, we still have people over in the last generation spending money. Let's keep supporting that old console. But at the same time, you got to encourage people to jump on board the next generation, right? Like, especially at this point, we're halfway through. We're going to get to the point where they finally cut off the PS4 and the PS6 is going to be coming out.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you buy a PS5? So really strange. I don't.
That's something real that I'm hearing from a lot of people. Actually, it's like don't. It's too late to upgrade. Don't get the PS5. Just wait.
I agree. If you haven't bought one yet, wait. You might as well wait for the PlayStation 6.
Yeah.
Maybe the PS5 Pro that's rumored. Maybe, but even then, it's like, what's the reason that you're upgrading?
Right.
Like, yeah. As far as PlayStation VR 2 goes, that thing is dead. That thing is dead. It's doing worse than the PSVR, as far as I know. I think they've released one first-party game on it, and it's been out for a year and a half, I want to say.
Yeah.
I'd have to look that up, but I think it feels like about a year and a half. And it's just dead. I could see the writing on the wall a long time ago, but like confirmation of that was the announcement, I think it was last week, that they're releasing a PC adapter for the PSVR 2. So you can use the PSVR 2 with your PC.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why anyone would buy a PSVR 2 for the PC, because it has all these extra cool features like eye tracking, and a whole bunch of other features that won't be active on the PS if you use it on a PC, because it was designed for the PlayStation 5. So all those features are just going to be non-existent. So you might as well buy a Quest.
Yeah.
Quest 3. So that system's dead. I'm glad I didn't buy one. I did buy the original PSVR. I enjoyed it, but they don't support their peripherals enough. Same thing happened with Vita. Same thing happened with VR, and same thing's happening with VR too. It's like
they spend this money on it, and then they don't give enough reason.
Yeah. And PSVR VR 2 is, I think, as expensive as the console itself. So it's like you're buying two consoles, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I think the VR train for Sony is probably dead. I don't think we're going to see a third one.
Most likely, at least for a good while.
Yeah, at least for until cost comes down. And it's more affordable for the general population. But let's take a look at all of the first-party studios that Sony has with their PlayStation brand. So basically, these are PlayStation studios for the most part, and see what they're up to. And spoiler alert, we don't know a lot. They're quiet right now. But let's go through it. So first off, we have Polyphony Digital. They are the Gran Turismo team. I assume they're working on GT8, probably for PS6.
Yeah.
What else would they be working on?
It's got to be for 6.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to release another GT on the same console. I just why bother? Team Asobi is up next. They just announced Astrobot, which looks phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah,
looks great. I played Astro's Playroom, which was the free Astrobot game that comes with the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, that is the we're finally getting a Mario rival.
Yeah,
we haven't had a Mario rival in so long. So to see that is fantastic. We all thought like years ago that Sackboy was going to be that.
Oh yeah,
and then it just really never happened.
He was that close.
He was so close. And then he
I did love Sackboy.
Yeah, so I mean, it's and now Little Big Planet is just nothing. It doesn't even exist really anymore. So they seem to be going with Astrobot as their cutesy mascot, and I think it'll be great. I'm looking forward to that.
That's a pretty good one though. Hopefully he makes it.
Absolutely. Fire Sprite is another one. That's a new studio that they purchased recently. No clue what they're doing. If I remember correctly, they were the ones that did the VR Horizon game on PSVR 2. I'm pretty sure. Let me look that up real quick. I'd put money on it.
Yeah.
Fire Sprite Games. Let's see. Yeah, they were the one that did Call of the Mountain. Horizon Call of the Mountain on PSVR 2. So the question is, are they still working on another VR game?
Is that going to be their focus? Is VR?
Because that's the only game that they've had is Call of the Mountain. But with how dead we're seeing PSVR 2, are they going to shift
maybe them
team?
getting Fire Sprite? Maybe that's them hopefully changing that, or
it's a tough call. I it could go a few different ways. They might be in trouble, if Sony's looking to cut ties with a studio and save money.
Yeah,
they might be on the chopping block. But they have to be working on something.
Yeah,
I just don't know whether it's another VR game or if they've been delegated to a new project that's non-VR at this point. So
yeah.
But given how recent that game came out, only a year and a half ago, I don't think we're going to hear from them for probably until PS6, I would imagine. I don't think it'll be coming this gen. It seems unlikely, unless it's a VR game, because they've learned so much. About VR. They might have something before them. Then we have Guerrilla, the Horizon team. Now they haven't confirmed anything about what they're making, but there's been tons of leaks and rumors that they are making. Of course, Horizon 3, we know that. They made Horizon 1 and 2. 2 left off on a huge cliffhanger. Great game. So we know we're getting 3. But apparently they're also working on a mobile Horizon game. I'm
always skeptical about the mobile.
Yeah. I don't even need to say much on that front. Yeah. It's like, sure, have fun, mobile crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they're also apparently working on a Horizon MMO, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I think there was also a rumor of like a multiplayer co-op type experience Horizon game. But whatever they're working on, it seems to be Horizon based. They seem to be doubling down on that IP. They've also got the Netflix. I think it's a Netflix show, Horizon, coming as well. I'm pretty sure it's either Amazon Prime or Netflix is doing
Netflix. Just still makes me nervous, but they've succeeded in some markets where I'm like, okay, I'll give them a shot when they do this stuff.
Right.
It's always hit or miss though.
It totally is. Yeah, Netflix is a whole other conversation we could potentially have as the topic of the week. But yeah, I agree. We'll see how that shakes out. I'm a little surprised we haven't actually heard any teases from them at this point.
Yeah.
But as we'll continue down this list, they're Sony's quiet in general. They're just not saying anything. Which continues with which continues with the next one, which is Housemarque. They're the ones who made Resogun and Super Stardust HD and Returnal. So Returnal was their last game that came out uh 3.5, 4 years ago, I want to say. Great game, fantastic, gorgeous.
Yeah, that one was gorgeous.
Yeah, I think we're probably due to hear from them soon, is my guess. 3.5, 4 years. I think we're gonna hear from them within a year of this recording. I can't imagine it taking much longer for them to show something.
Yeah.
What that is, I don't know. I don't think they've ever done a sequel, if I remember correctly. It's always been a new game. So we'll see.
Which is fine, you know. I respect a company that doesn't, fish for
Sequelize
those
everything.
sequels. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And they make such good games that I'm cool with them making another new IP. Next up is Media Molecule. This is another developer like Firesprite, where I'm like, if there's a developer that's up on the chopping block, Media Molecule is up there. Their last game was Dreams, which was the game creator game thing.
Oh, yeah,
where you create a game within the game, and it didn't. I don't think it flopped, but it definitely didn't set the world on fire. And I think they announced recently that the Dreams servers are going to be shut down.
Yeah.
So I have no clue what they're working on. I have no clue. Maybe they're going back to a Little Big Planet, but my bet would be on a new IP. I think they're going to go for something new.
Bring back Sackboy.
Do you want them to bring back Little Big Planet, or would you rather see them do something new?
I'd be fine with either, because they do need something fresh, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think a Little Big Planet could be renewed into something really good.
A comeback, a Little Big Planet comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can bet whatever they're going to bring back is going to be something to do with player creation. That seems to be their tool set, letting people create things and mess around with them. So
yeah,
we'll see. But they're quiet as well. And then the next one's quiet as well. Bend, Sony Bend, who is the makers of Siphon Filter, and their most recent one was Days Gone, which did not do very well apparently, but it did well enough that they haven't been shut down. But we have no clue what they're doing, other than we know that they're not doing Days Gone 2. They requested to PlayStation to do a sequel and got turned down. So whatever they're doing, it's something new. I personally loved Days Gone. I think it's highly underrated. It's a little long. It kind of overstays its welcome, but I love the gameplay. The characters are really cool. Story's cool.
They just didn't get the pacing right, you think? Or?
Yeah, the pacing was kind of all over the place. There was like some slogs. I get why people didn't like it. And it took them a long time to make that game too, which doesn't help. So I think it definitely went through some development problems. But it was I enjoyed it. I loved it. I played it twice, all the way through. So it was really good.
Nice.
But we have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
Another studio with nothing.
Yeah.
So very strange. The next one is Bluepoint. They are the remake studio. So they remade Shadow of the Colossus. And then they remade Demon's Souls at the PlayStation 5 launch, and have been quiet ever since. We don't know what they're doing.
What's their next remake?
Yeah, I have to assume that it's going to be another remake. Seems unlikely that they would get their own IP at this point. But maybe, they've proven themselves.
They should remake in the original God of Wars.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about that myself. Is like remake the original trilogy of God of Wars, because like people that played the 2018 one in Ragnarok probably didn't play the originals because they were PlayStation 2 era, right?
Yeah,
for the most part. So yeah, they could do that.
Games, and they can be finessed really well too, I think.
Yeah, And they could be gorgeous because everything they do visually is just insanely good looking. Like, I played Elden Ring, and then I played Demon's Souls remake after, and I was like, holy crap, this game is gorgeous. Elden Ring is beautiful from an art standpoint.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, but from
I don't
a visual...
really play Elden Ring, but I've watched my sibling play it. Like, it is stunning.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. But from a fidelity standpoint, Demon's Souls rocks it out of the park. Like, it's so clean. It's so crisp. So I don't know what the rumors of what the remaking were. There's two. Mm-hmm. There was a rumor that they were going to remake the original Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, and then the Bloodborne was the other one.
I don't think Bloodborne really needs a remake right now.
You don't think, or you do think?
I don't think.
I think a lot of people want it.
Yeah.
I don't really care personally. I'm not a Bloodborne fan. But I know a lot of people want it because it's not available anywhere except for PS3. So you can't play it on PS4, PS5, PC. It's stuck on PC or PS3. Yeah. So we'll see what they do, but they're quiet as well. We don't know what they're doing. We're finally getting into some studios here that we do know what they're doing. So Firewalk is next. They're doing Concord, which they just revealed at their State of Play about a week ago. Concord is the 5v5 Overwatch-like, I think is the best way of putting it. And it's kind of got like a Guardians of the Galaxy type vibe to the characters. It looks okay. It's not doing very well as far as like audience reception, from what I can tell. They're kind of just looking at it like, okay, what makes this game special?
Like what's unique about it?
Yeah,
really. And
there really doesn't appear to be an answer to that. They did say that they're going to be releasing a character-driven story vignette. Is that how you say it? Vignette?
Vignette?
No. Vignette. 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 So, like a 5-10 minute cinematic episode, basically. So it's like an ongoing show. But do people really care about that when it's just an online 5v5 shooter?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It seems weird. A weird bet to me. PlayStation did say that they were going to be doubling down on live service games because they're so popular. This seems to be their first example of what they've been cooking, and it looks okay.
Kind of,
yeah, it's just there. Right. They have a lot to prove, I think.
That's a thing.
Yeah, if they were hiding some sort of gameplay secret, I think they would have shared it already, but there doesn't really appear to be anything about it that looks unique. It's like a cross between
their version of this.
yeah, it looks like a cross between Overwatch and Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
It might be good, but I don't think it's going to set the world on fire.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. The next one is Haven. This is another new studio that is making a game called Fair Games, which is another online multiplayer game, live service game. We haven't seen any gameplay of it yet. They've shown a cinematic teaser, but I guess it's kind of, it sounds like it might be in the vein of like heist game, like Payday. But they haven't shown anything or really elaborated on what it is. All I can tell you about it from the cinematic trailer is it gives off Fortnite vibes, so I really don't care.
Another Fortnite-esque
kind of art style.
Yeah.
Another game that just doesn't get me all tingly.
That's something that bothers me a lot about these things, is like a lot of it feels like just trying to copy and outdo the same style.
Yep. Hey, look at the most popular game out there right now. Let's try and emulate it. To take a chunk out of their wallet. It's like, that's not
that's not why I go for developers like Supergiant, that they're developing their own thing and very unique.
Exactly, I agree. So I'm not going to judge until we see gameplay.
Yeah,
a cinematic trailer is That's all it is, you know. And I honestly, I wish they would stop with cinematic trailers, you know, showing that before the gameplay. I just, why bother, you know?
You got gameplay is a must show. Like, come on.
Yeah, there's nothing to judge until we see gameplay. So
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know how far off that one is. And then we have Insomniac, which has been, you know, the MVP for PlayStation Studios for years now. You know, they've done Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales. You know, they're launching games left, right, and center.
Spider-Mans are incredible.
Oh yeah, they're on fire right now. They're neck and neck to me with Naughty Dog as far as like the importance of their studio to PlayStation. They're killing it. And unfortunately, they were the victims of that hack sometime in the last 6 months, I want to say. So their entire next 15 years was revealed of what they're working on. I chose to not look at it because that sucks for them. You know, that blows. But from what I understand, from what I hear, it's basically a crap load of Marvel games. And then a new Ratchet and Clank, I can't speak. A new Ratchet and Clank game at some point, and then a new IP. That's what I hear. So,
what really sucks for them, though.
Yeah, to have that, that sucks.
And they can't throw it out because they're already working on it. You know, like
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. I don't know how deep into the production they are on some of those games, but obviously Wolverine is their next game. It's already been announced. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. But everything after that, I kind of wonder if they're going to pivot, to be honest with you. I wonder if they're going to be like, I don't want to make a game that everyone has these preconceived expectations for because of the leak.
Because I think that's why... Like, they're all so secretive for a reason. They don't want people inputting or trying to suggest what they expect, and it interferes with their creative process, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Whoever their hacker, or whoever the hacker was, you know, you're a dick.
Yeah.
You know? Plain and simple. Leave those people alone. They didn't do anything to you, you know? So yeah, we'll see what Insomniac does, but you know, they're killing it. So I have all the faith in the world that they'll, you know, no matter what they release, it's going to be great. Speaking of Naughty Dog's the next one up on our list. So they're in a bit of a weird state right now. They've been talking about The Last of Us multiplayer game for several years now, since Part 2 came out, and then finally they revealed that they've canceled that game. From what it sounds like, when Sony did that pivot to live service games, they included Naughty Dog in that, and with what happened with Suicide Squad, and how that all went down, I think they all kind of came together and were like, "This is a bad idea. We need to get you back on single player content because that's where you excel." And I think that's good on them for realizing that. Because man, Rocksteady, they are screwed right now. We'll talk about that at a later date, I think. But man, that sucks for them. But we do know they have specifically stated that they have multiple unannounced single player titles in development. We have to assume that Last of Us Part 3 is one of them. Guaranteed that's got to be their next game. God, like with how amazing the show did. With how amazing the game sells, there's no reason for them not to finish that trilogy off. But I think it's also clear that they're probably working on either a new Uncharted or a new IP. And my fingers are crossed for a new IP because Naughty Dog creates just amazing games, and I want to see what they can do when they flex that creative muscle. You know, when they have a blank canvas. So we'll see what they're doing. I don't think we may not see a Naughty Dog game this generation.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if we do. Which is crazy.
Not even finishing off The Last of Us on this generation?
Yeah. You know what? I would say it might be a cross-gen game, a PS5, PS6 cross-gen.
Yeah.
That I can see.
That's fair.
So it might be like, in the last year or two of the PlayStation 5's life cycle. But that would be about it. I don't think we're going to hear from them for a long time. It's going to be years. I think they got really screwed by that multiplayer game. I think they put a lot of resources into that and it backfired. We'll see though. You never know. The next one is Sony San Diego. They're the Major League Baseball team. So I'm sure they're working on the next one.
Yeah.
I don't really have much more to say than that. I kind of feel for the people that work at that studio. That must suck. You know what I mean? Just to work on the same game every year,
over and over. Not a lot of creative freedom.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean,
doing more sports.
Yeah, maybe some people just see it as a job and they don't really care about their creative freedom. They're just there to get paid. But I would go bananas just working on a baseball game for 20 years. Next up is Sony Santa Monica, which is the God of War team. No clue what they're making.
Story next seems what they're leading to.
That's a good question, because Cory Barlog, the maker of the new God of War series, I don't think he directed the second one. I don't think he directed Ragnarok. I'm sure he had some input, but apparently he's working on something else while Ragnarok was being made. But I don't know. I remember him specifically stating that God of War, this Norse mythology God of War, was only 2 games. So I don't know if they'll do an Atreus game or not. I have no clue.
It seemed like that's what they were leaning to.
I know. I agree. Yeah. When I beat Ragnarok, I was thinking the same thing, and I'm like, they said 2 games. So
are they gonna send Kratos somewhere else then, or?
I would put money that the next Sony Santa Monica game is not going to be God of War related.
Yeah,
I think Cory Barlog did so well with the 2018 God of War that they're like, do whatever you want for your next game. Let's see what you can do. However, I think they're probably working on 2 games. To be honest with you, I think I would not be shocked if Cory's working on like a new IP. And then the team, their secondary team, is working on an Atreus game. I would not be shocked at all if that was the case.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think they're at that point where they could have 2 teams. So we'll see what happens.
God of War blew out of the water. So
yeah, God of War sold fantastic. So they're doing great.
Yep.
Next up is Sucker Punch. I'm surprised we haven't heard from them yet. They are the Ghost of Tsushima team who also worked on Sly Cooper. Right. I have to assume that they're working on Ghost of Tsushima 2 with how well that game sold. They're also making a movie of Ghost of Tsushima. So a sequel seems logical to me. But I'm a little disappointed in that, to be honest with you. I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't know if I need another one.
Right.
Yeah. The way I look at that game is it's like Assassin's Creed. But think of what would happen if you made Assassin's Creed, but you didn't change the setting every time.
Yeah.
Because those games are big.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I need another one of that in Japan.
Yeah, unless they do move it somewhere else. But
yeah, maybe they invade another country and that's how they get around that. I don't know. That's a good point. But I do have faith in Sucker Punch to make a great game. They have never not delivered. So
if they are working on it too, I assume it's not just going to be a copy, the same place, same era.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Yeah,
it was a great game. I'm not taking anything away from them. I just don't think I need more of it unless it's vastly different, vastly improved. So we'll see. I remember when they added I think it's called Legends mode. It's the multiplayer thing to that game, and that was a hit. Tons of people played that. So there's that aspect as well. And how PlayStation's looking for multiplayer stuff right now.
Yeah, so. Trying to do multiplayer. Maybe that's it. Maybe.
We'll see. So that's all PlayStation Studios. Obviously, they also have Helldivers 2 out, but the team, what's that team called that made Helldivers? Crap, I'm gonna have to look that up. Who made Helldivers 2? Arrowhead. They are, from what I understand, not a first-party studio. They just make games for Sony separately. I'm actually
probably gives them way more freedom.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I'm actually kind of surprised that Sony hasn't approached them about buying them. Maybe that's in the future. Maybe they're in talks about that right now. Who knows? With how well Helldivers is killing it. It's a 12 million plus copies sold. It's crazy. I play it. It's great. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. But I think at the end of the day, the PlayStation, brand is killing it. But from a console standpoint, this generation has sucked.
Yeah.
Returnal's great. Ratchet and Clank was great. Spider-Man 2 is great. But like the amount of cross-gen games versus PS5 exclusives is so low.
Yeah, it feels like sprinkles of joy between this generation. It's not really.
Yeah.
It's never been consistent. It's there's a new console out. Oh, this new game came out. Maybe I'll get the console for that game. And then it's dead again for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the positive side, we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 studios that we don't know what they're doing. Have to assume that they're probably all working on PS5 exclusives. If any of them are working on a cross-gen game at this point, that makes me mad if they are. That just makes me mad. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Anything else to add about PlayStation? How they're doing?
No, I think we hit everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to Nintendo, who is extremely quiet. If we're talking PlayStation's quiet, Nintendo is just silent as the grave. Yeah, what are they? We know the Switch 2 is coming. We know it's coming. We don't know what it's called. We haven't seen it, but we all assume that it's going to be a Switch Pro, a Switch successor. A 1080p, maybe even 4K Switch. But they're certainly waiting quite a long time to talk about it. We all thought that the Switch 2 would be out already. When we were talking about it last year, we were like, oh, it's going to be out by March. They like the spring releases, and we're in mid-June and they haven't even talked about it. So it's a little strange.
Surprising.
Yeah. But
is it going to be something completely different? Maybe not a Switch 2? I don't know.
Man, never bet against Nintendo, but they got a winner on their hands with a Switch 2. Yeah. So it's guaranteed money. They started this whole mobile console, trend with Steam Deck and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. I have no prediction for them as a company because Nintendo just does whatever they want. We might see
have no rules.
Yeah, they've beat what is it? Follow the beat of their own drum. They don't think about anyone else. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna do what we want to do. Yeah. It wouldn't shock me to see a Wii 2. Who knows what they're doing. But the only real things that I have
they're gonna come out and say, we fixed the Wii.
Yeah. The Wii is fixed. It actually works now. It's not just waggle anymore. It actually tracks your motion. Yeah. There's only a few things I have to say about Nintendo, and that is, where is Metroid Prime 4? They showed that logo years ago, and we still don't see it.
Just quiet.
Nothing. not a thing. They didn't even reveal at that time who was making it, let alone anything about it. They were just like, Metroid Prime 4 in development, and we're all like, yay!
They just said the name and then they walked off stage.
Yeah. They were just like, shut up, we're working on it, all right? Leave us alone. And then, it's been years since then, and nothing. So my guess is it's probably been moved to Switch 2 or whatever the next console is. I can't imagine it being a Switch game at this point.
Yeah.
Same thing with the new 3D Mario. I am blown away that they didn't do a Super Mario Odyssey 2 for the Switch.
Yeah.
Seems like a really big miss for them to not capitalize on the success of that game. Very strange.
Unless they're working on that the Switch 2 game, getting ready for that.
Yeah, that maybe Odyssey 2 is a Switch 2 launch title. They have a Zelda movie in production, which is weird.
Mm-hmm. Don't know how that's gonna turn out.
I'm a little worried about that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, a little worried.
Not gonna lie. When they announced that, I had a very, very quick, oh my god, and then 3 seconds later, I'm like, oh no, this could be bad.
Be nice to Link, please.
Yeah. When I found out that it was not animated and it was a live action movie, I was like, oh.
Just, oh.
How are you going to do that? Because it's very cartoonish.
It is.
I just... let me tell you.
Like, all the tools Link uses, like, how do you include that in live action, Like,
yeah, the grappling hook and, like, the bombs, I don't know, man. It's gonna be tricky. We'll see. I think that trailer, that first trailer, is going to be something.
Yeah, I think the trailer is going to be very telling.
Yeah,
on how people are going to receive this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the trailer just as like a gaming moment in history. It's like the Zelda movie. Finally, we can see it. Is it good, or is it going to be garbage? That being said, they did fantastic with the Mario movie.
They did. That did turn out good.
But that was animated.
It was animated.
So, we'll see. The last thing I wanted to kind of touch on was Nintendo Online, which they're doing better. But man, I don't understand why they like to do this little trickle of classic games. Like, you have a library of Nintendo games from regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube. Shove all that right onto Nintendo Online. That should all be accessible by now. I think we were just talking about, it might not have been on the show. It might have been on our pre-show warm-up that we had. But Chrono Trigger is not on there.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Like, come on.
Yeah, pay Square Enix.
Remake it for me, please. That's all I want. I want to remake Chrono Trigger.
And I don't think we're going to get it.
I want it in like the Final Fantasy VII remake kind of style. Like, I want it like fully remastered.
And I don't think we're going to get that until they actually put out the original to see if there's a want for it,
Because I think a lot of people forget about mentioning that game too, and Nintendo's almost forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Sadly, like, it's just kind of...
I agree.
But it's still so good.
Oh, it's so good. It's one of my personal favorite games of all time. I could play that game 1,000 times and love it every time. It's so good. But yeah, Nintendo Online needs to fix that. We need to get better. And I sure as heck hope that the purchases and everything that you are subscribed to on Nintendo Online on Switch carries over to the next console, because they've never done that before. So I sure hope that that's something they do.
Yeah.
So that's all
to the account. Can't be that hard.
Yeah. It's not hard, guys. Companies have been doing it for 2 decades now. Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I had for Nintendo. They're very quiet. I don't really. There's a couple of games coming out this year that the Switch has. Like there was that Princess Peach Showtime game. They have the Luigi's Mansion 2 remake, I think, coming. I think there's a couple other ones, but nothing to write home about. So then let's move on to Xbox, the last of our first party companies, who have really been suffering this generation, have not been able to make a comeback since the debacle of the Xbox One. Just have not recovered. However, they just had an Xbox showcase that was freaking phenomenal, in my opinion. Maybe their best showcase of all time. It was really good. We're going to talk about that a little bit more next week. But for now, they did really well. But Xbox is really good at promising things. They're really good at that. Not
they're
so
the
much
showy ones.
Yeah, exactly. They're not good at delivering, but they are great at promising great stuff. So, we'll see how it all comes out in the wash.
I think that might be what led PlayStation to overselling them so much. Is PlayStation keeps very close to the chest, while Xbox outwardly promises all these projects, and then they're like, actually.
Well, you know what? I think there's a reason for that. I think that because Xbox is so behind, they feel the need to continue to churn the water and be in people's minds. Whereas PlayStation is like, we're winning 5-1. We don't need to say anything. Do whatever you want, Xbox. We're killing you. You know what I mean? Like, they're just... I have a feeling that PlayStation's holding all those cards close to their chests, and they're going to have a blowout showcase within a year or two where they're like, all right, we've been quiet for 3 or 4 years. Here's everything we're working on, and they're going to blow the roof off the place. Kind of like what Xbox just did this past weekend. So we'll see. But yeah, Xbox Series X and S selling terribly. Apparently last quarter it sold under 1 million units, which is awful. That is terrible. It's basically at if I remember correctly, it's below Dreamcast level sales right now.
Wow.
Which is I mean, you know what happened to Sega. The Dreamcast killed them.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So Microsoft's got money at the wazoo, so Xbox isn't really going anywhere. And they've already confirmed that they have another console coming, so they're not going anywhere, but I kind of wish they would. I kind of wish they would just throw the towel in and be like, you know what, we're going to be a Sega. We're going to be a third-party developer making games for every other platform. But they don't want to do that.
Hopefully this new console is something real special.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they need. If they pull that off.
Yeah. They have a lot to dig. They have a canyon to dig themselves out of, man. Like, the opinion of the brand of Xbox is like dead. Basically, it needs to be resuscitated with a really strong shock to the system. So we'll see. I will say that the Xbox Series X, I actually like the console better than the PlayStation 5 from a console standpoint.
Yep.
It has what do they call that feature? Quick resume, where you can have several games running in the background basically and switch between them within seconds. Whereas PlayStation, you can only have one.
Yeah.
You put it into rest mode, you come back and it's still there. Whereas on Xbox, you can, back and forth between several games, which is really cool.
I feel like that would overwhelm me so much, though, on the contrary.
It's like, which game should I play? They're all right here at my fingertips.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I do like
enough trouble finishing games. If I had the option to save all of them, I'd get like a minute into each one and then just...
Okay, I got enough of that one. Let's turn to this one. Yeah, exactly. I hear you. I will say that the PlayStation 5 controller is way better, though. That's a fantastic controller. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that controller.
Oh,
it feels nice.
Yeah, it's definitely. It might be the best controller of all time. I'm not gonna lie. It's so comfortable. Yeah. Except for the battery life. Battery life is terrible.
Absolutely terrible. You pretty much plugged in the entire time.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go through Xbox's first party studios and see what they're working on. So obviously they own Blizzard, Bethesda, and a crap load of other companies at this point. So there's a lot that they have now. First of which is Obsidian. They are currently working on Avowed, which is supposed to come out later this year. That is their Skyrim Light, that is based on the Pillars of Eternity games. It's not showing very well. People are kind of like, could be good. But they also made The Outer Worlds, which a lot of people loved. You know, especially Fallout fans really, really loved that game. I don't know if you played it. I played about half of it.
I haven't played it myself, but I've seen a bit of it. Yeah,
it's good, but it's definitely missing VATS.
Yeah,
I love VATS.
VATS is good.
Yeah, and it doesn't have it, so
works.
Yeah, it's basically just, or Outer Worlds is basically just like an average shooter in a great RPG.
Yeah,
it's kind of the way I look at it. But they're working on Outer Worlds too, as well as
hopefully a VATS added.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna add their own VATS finally to that one, because that's definitely what it was missing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that shakes out. I wouldn't be surprised if they were working on Pillars of Eternity 3 as well. Although, Pillars of Eternity 2, I guess, didn't sell very well. So maybe not.
I played a little bit of Pillars of Eternity 2, and it was good, but it was.
Yeah.
I kind of put it aside to play other games because other better games were out. But
my problem with it was that it's designed around the original Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 philosophy of real-time gameplay instead of turn-based gameplay. They did add a turn-based mode to it, but it's not designed as a turn-based game, so it's really slow.
It doesn't really work.
It's so slow. Yeah. So yeah, it was never for me either. Maybe they come out with a Pillars of Eternity 3 that's actually turn-based. I would give that a shot.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That would be nice.
Next up is Ninja Theory. They just released Hellblade 2. I haven't played it yet. It's on Game Pass, but I intend to play it. So hopefully, in the next few episodes, I'll have something to say about it. But it's reviewing around an 8.
Yeah.
So great game, but it's not setting the world on fire like a lot of people were hoping it was going to. I think a lot of the assumption was that because it was taking so long. I don't know if you played the original Hellblade.
No, I have not.
Highly recommend it. It's really good. Yeah. I'm not sure if you know the concept of the game, but it's basically about this woman that suffers from psychosis. So she hears voices in her head constantly, and the best way to play that game is with an over-the-ear headset.
Oh yeah,
because you hear the voices around you. It's really great audio. It's really super creepy. And so they thought, but it almost has a God of War aspect to it, combat wise. So they thought, a lot of people thought, because the game was taking so long, that it was going to be sort of a God of War equal when the sequel came out, and then it finally comes out and it's basically the same as the first game, an 8-hour experience that's really, really graphically impressive and audibly impressive. But nothing more than that. Mm-hmm. So I think it was disappointing for a lot of people. Next up is Machine Games. So these are the Wolfenstein folks. But they are working on the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game, which a lot of people are super stoked about.
It could be really fun.
Visually, it looks great. I'm not a fan of the Wolfenstein games that they've created personally. They're okay.
Yeah.
But they're very popular though. I don't foresee myself liking this game. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I'll give this one a try. I wasn't into the Wolfensteins as much, but I've seen some people play it. but I think Indiana Jones I might be more interested in.
Yeah, it's definitely like an adventure game with,
Yeah.
Some stealth and some shooting, some puzzles, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely going to play it. It's going to be on Game Pass, and I subscribe to Game Pass, so I
Yeah.
get all these games for free. So I play them all.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
But I just, I think a lot of people are expecting this game to be like a 9, and I think it's probably going to be more like a 7.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we'll see.
I think that
they could blow us all away. This game could be a 10. Who knows?
Yeah.
The next one is from Arcane Lion. They are making the Marvel's Blade game. We don't know anything about it. We were given a title screen or a logo, and that was it. And we haven't heard anything since. So,
interesting.
I don't have much to say. These are the guys that made Prey. And like Deathloop, I think.
Very actiony kind of game. You think it's going to be?
Yeah. I mean, I think all of their games have been first person.
Yeah.
So, a first person Melee. I don't know. We'll see.
It's hard to picture.
Yeah, I can't. I have no visual guess as to what this thing's going to be. We'll see.
Yeah.
The next one is In Exile. These are the guys that are making Clockwork Revolution, which looks like BioShock. We've only seen one trailer for it. I'm surprised it wasn't at the showcase this past weekend. But it looks fantastic. It's definitely like a cross between BioShock and BioShock Infinite. Kind of that same kind of like city crazy, culture vibe. First person game with time bending elements to it, which is always cool. You get time travel in a game. I'm listening.
Yeah, time manipulation always fun to play with in games like that.
Whether it's in a game or a movie, I'm listening. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. I don't know what they've worked on previously, so I can't really say much about the studio. Let me actually quickly look up what they have made before. I don't know if they're brand new.
Yeah.
In Exile Entertainment. Let's see. Just on their website right now. Games. Yeah, so Clockwork Revolution is right up there. Oh, okay. All right, they've got some pedigree. I'm a little I'm a little surprised here. They made Wasteland 3. They made the Bard's Tale games.
Oh, hell yeah. Bard's Tale is another one we kind of need a remake too, though.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
I think they made Bard's Tale 4, which I don't know when that came out, but I feel like it was maybe it's older. Maybe it's within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They made Torment, Tides of Numenera. Yeah, so they've got some RPG pedigree.
Nice.
So we'll see how they do. I never played Wasteland or Bard's Tale or
with their experience with Bard's Tale, I feel like if they took up the next Baldur's Gate, that could be interesting. Actually, their studio.
Okay. Yeah.
Bard's Tale is fun. Like it was a great game.
Huh. I will have to look into that. Maybe it's on Game Pass. Yeah, I guess Larian said that they're leaving D&D behind, so Wizards got to find someone else to do their their RPG, which is
Larian
not.
They want to move on.
Yeah, that is not a position I don't think any studio would want to be in to make a follow up to Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah.
That would suck.
Whoever takes that is going to have a lot.
Yeah, that's stress right there.
Mm-hmm.
Next up on our list here is Playground Games. They are the Forza team, but they are making Fable as their next game, which is crazy. They've had 2 trailers for Fable. No real gameplay. There is gameplay in them, but it's HUDless. It's just kind of some quick shots here and there. But the whole concept and aesthetic of the story and everything, It's hilarious. It sounds really,
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
I fucking love Fable. It's
Oh yeah.
funny. It's a great stories. Like even within the humor, it's yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great. I played Fable 1. I didn't play Fable 2, which I've been told is the best one.
Yeah, Fable 2 is great.
Yeah. And then I played Fable 3, which I loved, but the game was broken. Terribly
Oh
broken.
yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. That was the one where you become king.
Oh yeah,
You have
yeah,
to
yeah.
like make decisions about how to spend your gold and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But the problem was you could make enough gold where those decisions were
like it doesn't matter.
didn't
Like
matter.
it
It's
just
like I can afford everything, so it's fine.
yeah.
Um, so it was kind of broken, but it was great despite that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I can't wait for more
Yeah.
Fable. I kind of want some gameplay at this point though. It's
Fable's always great, I think. So I'm
yeah,
excited for that.
it's coming out next year, 2025. They confirmed that at the Xbox showcase.
Yeah.
Sorry, my cat is doing a dance, which probably
Oh
means that there's a cat outside.
yeah.
Dante. Okay.
Mine's sleeping. He's behaving now.
Yeah. He sees something outside. I'm not sure what it is though. Hi. Hello. And yes, he is named after Devil May Cry. Hi, Dante. Yes. Um, Next studio is Rare. They've been working on Sea of Thieves for seemingly forever at this point. That's a great game for them. Um, I wish I could play it because you can't really play that game alone. You really need someone to play with. Probably at least two other people, and
Yeah.
so it's just not a game I can play. But it does look fantastic. But they have to be working on something else at this point. I think, yeah, I think Sea of Thieves is on like season 13 or something like that. Maybe more. So they have tons of content in that game, and I'm sure it'll be continued to be supported. But they have to be working on something else. I know they used to be talking about a game called Everwild, but we only ever
Oh
saw a trailer for it.
yeah. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it was very cute and colorful with like animals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it never went anywhere. We never heard from it again. So I
Yeah.
don't know whether they've
Drop
canceled
it. Or,
that and moved on or what happened. But that
yeah.
was years ago. That was pre-COVID, pretty sure.
Oh
Yeah, it's been yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's been a while. It's been a while,
Pre-COVID as a as a time marker is so interesting because you say
isn't it?
pre-COVID, you immediately know.
You
Oh yeah.
immediately know it was a while ago. Yeah. The next one is The Initiative. This is a brand new studio that's working on the Perfect Dark reboot. They went dark, no pun intended, for quite a few years after some troubled development. Apparently, Crystal Dynamics came in to assist them with making the game, and it was finally re-revealed at the Xbox showcase last weekend, and it looks great. It looks really cool. It's like a first-person Hitman, is what it looks like a futuristic first-person Hitman, which is very cool.
Pretty cool.
I love that concept. I don't know whether it's like specifically like mission-based, areas like
Yeah.
Hitman, or if it's open world. No clue. They haven't really shared that. And there was no release year or release date on the trailer. So we don't
Yeah.
know a whole lot about it besides what we saw. But what we saw, I thought looked great. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that one. A little sad that it's got no release window. That could
Yeah.
mean it's still far off, but we'll see. The next one is Compulsion Games, which they're working on South of Midnight, and I don't know what they've previously worked on. Let me take a look. But I do know that South of Midnight looks awesome.
South of Midnight does look pretty cool.
Yeah, the art style is gorgeous.
Yeah.
We finally saw some gameplay at the showcase,
Yeah.
and it looked great. I was impressed. I was like, yeah, the third person sort of mystical, fantasy adventure. I'm down. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Love when they love fantasy type. settings.
And they need third-person games on Xbox. They don't really have a whole lot. It's a lot of first-person games.
A lot of first persons. I think that's why I've never been like
an
on
Xbox
the
person.
Xbox side. Yeah.
Fair point.
I like the third person.
Yeah, even when we look at the games that we've talked about, Avowed is first person, Outer Worlds is first person, Hellblade is third person, so it's one. Indiana Jones is first person, Clockwork Revolution is first person, Fable's third.
Third, yeah.
Perfect Dark is first person.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. There's a plethora of first person experiences on, and obviously they already have Starfield, which is first person as well.
Although Starfield, I heard, was kind of disappointing.
When it came out, yeah, I did not like it. When they finally released a 60 frames per second patch, I started to play it and I was like, all right,
yeah,
I'm feeling something here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold my judgment on that. Still, I have more to play. I'm not far enough because the patch just came out like a week or two ago, and I've been distracted by Valhalla.
Yeah,
unfortunately, an old game. Oh, how it goes. So that's so Compulsion Games made We Happy Few, which didn't do very well, but it was very conceptually amazing. That was a game where you had to like take your joy. It was all about that society that was under the influence of these hallucinogenic drugs, and you were trying to escape the fakeness of the land.
Trying to escape back to reality. Yeah. It was such a cool concept, and I loved.
Just not a great game.
Watching Let's Plays of it, actually. That's how I got my joy from
it. That's fair. I think it launched free to play too. I could be wrong on that, but
yeah,
I remember it being a weird launch. But so they don't have a great pedigree, but South of Midnight does look promising. Like I will say that. The next studio is Undead Labs. They have State of Decay 3 coming, and we finally got to look at a little bit of gameplay at the showcase. Nice. And it looks like State of Decay. Yeah. I don't really have much to say about it. I like the State of Decay games. Personally, I don't like the fact that you switch between characters in those games. I want to play as just one person taking care of a town civilization. I don't want to have to switch.
Yeah,
like, just want to be me.
Yeah,
but I think were those games multiplayer? They were co-op, right?
I think they were.
Yeah, I think maybe that was like the way to play it.
Yeah,
and that's why it didn't click with me. But we'll see. We'll see what State of Decay 3 has. They had a really small gameplay trailer at the showcase, so we still don't know really a whole lot about it. We need more info. Next up is Bethesda, who revealed Doom: The Dark Ages at the showcase, which looks insane. Doom. Just bonkers game.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the gun that chews up the skull and shoots out shards of the skull as a weapon, I was like, all right, I'm on board. Let's go.
Let's do it. Another Doom.
That was cool. You also have a shield now with like blades on it, and you can like
nice
parry, and you have like a chain, like is it flail? Is that what they call it? The thing with the ball spike on it. It looks good.
Like something cool.
Yeah, I will be honest though. I loved the Doom reboot. I did not like Doom Eternal for some reason.
Yeah,
don't know why. Never clicked with me. But this looks sick. I want to play it, and it's going to be on Game Pass day one.
Which is better not skimp on that gore.
No, it looks great. It looks so good. Yeah. I saw when he shot him with the shotgun, and in the specific area of the demon, like his flesh got torn off. It was so good. It's like, yeah, this is what we want from Doom. Just gore and craziness.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. And then they've already stated that their next game is Elder Scrolls 6.
Nice.
Which is probably 5 years out, at least. It's a long time.
It is.
However,
Elder Scrolls is always fun, though.
It is. However, I will kind of remind people that that was what he said years ago before the Fallout show took off. So I'm wondering if they're going to shift and do Fallout 5 first. It wouldn't be in line with their typical back and forth, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. But if they don't capitalize on the Fallout TV show, that would be pretty crazy.
Because the TV show was so good. Like, my mom even watched it and was suddenly like, I want to play Fallout,
Yeah.
So
I didn't even watch it, but hearing people talk about it made me want to play the games again, and I did. I played Fallout 4 for a little bit. So
yeah, I opened up Fallout 4 too after.
yeah.
You can't help it. It got you hyped. It was a good show.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. It's on my to watch list. Dante, what would you like? What would you like? I'm not talking to you. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. So we'll see what they make next. But it's either way, it's going to be not until PlayStation 6 and Xbox Series, Infinity, whatever they end up calling the next console.
Right.
And then finally we have Blizzard, who is really quiet. They're basically just like working on the World of Warcraft expansion and the Diablo 4 expansion, and that's it. Overwatch, still working on Overwatch 2.
Yeah. Overwatch is going to be a constant.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Yeah. I wish they would make something new. I'm kind of disappointed at where Blizzard's arrived at these days.
That's how I'm feeling with Blizzard. It's just gotten a little dry.
Yeah, like, could you release a new game at some point? Like, I know Diablo 4 just came out, but like,
yeah,
StarCraft 3, Warcraft 4, World of Warcraft 2. Let's do something new, or a new, God forbid, a new IP from Blizzard.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes from that. I will say that the trailer for the Diablo 4 expansion was horrifying.
Yeah,
it was so violent. Their cinematic team is just second to none. There's nobody better at doing cinematics anymore.
Diablo cinematics are always so cool.
Yeah. Same thing with the World of Warcraft cinematic. Any cinematics that that Blizzard does. So.
Honestly,
we'll see where Blizzard goes. But that's all I had. The only other thing I had was about for as far as Xbox goes is Game Pass, which is still phenomenal. Cannot believe how many games come to that platform. At their showcase, they announced 18 games that are coming to Game Pass.
Wow,
crazy. Which many of which we'll talk about next week when we talk about the Summer Games Fest. But man, Game Pass is great. It's phenomenal. Anything else you want to say about Xbox before we move on to the third parties?
No, I don't know enough about Xbox.
Fair enough. So third parties, we don't have a whole lot to talk about with the third parties, but we're going to kind of quickly squim. Squim is not a word, Trevor. Boy, okay.
We're gonna squim it.
We're gonna squim it. That might be our first like inside joke of the podcast. We're gonna squim it.
Let's squim it.
All right. We're gonna start off with EA, Electronic Arts. They just revealed Dragon Age Veilguard, the sequel-ish to Dragon Age Inquisition, which seems to be pretty divisive. I thought it looked fantastic. I think a lot of people are mad that it's not RPG enough, not open world enough. What the developers have said is that they're basically basing the design of this game off of Mass Effect 2, which Mass Effect 2 is one of the best games of all time. So if you're going to base the design of your game off something, I don't blame them for picking Mass Effect 2. So I'm stoked for that game. I really hope it turns out well. I don't have a huge amount of faith in BioWare anymore. I mean, their last two games were flops. Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda. So they're not doing very well. I think this is probably their last chance to make a statement, a positive statement.
Successful.
Yeah,
back on track.
Yeah, this game will answer the question of is BioWare dead? The BioWare we know, So we'll see how it turns out. We also know that they're working on the next Mass Effect. They've teased it a million times. We do know that Dragon Age is coming well before Mass Effect, so once Dragon Age comes out, which is apparently this fall, maybe we'll hear about Mass Effect next year. Hopefully, finally. They've teased it maybe 3 or 4 times at this point, so let's see it. They're probably working on Star Wars Jedi 3, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, both of which I highly recommend. Great games, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Great games. They're apparently also working on 2 Marvel games, Iron Man and Black Panther. No clue what they are, no clue what they look like, no clue about anything about them.
I pretty much just let any kind of superhero game be until I really see gameplay. I'm like, I don't know.
Especially when it comes to EA.
Yeah.
EA is not exactly the most reliable company in the world when it comes to quality.
Yeah.
Sorry, EA, but you're not. So we'll see how those shake out. They're also working on a Skate reboot. For those who love the Skate games, not really my forte.
Yeah,
but it's coming. They were working on Plants vs Zombies 3. Cool.
That's a game.
That's a game. I'll take it as long as it's not the mobile cash grab crap that Plants vs Zombies 2 was.
Right.
What a travesty that was. Yeah. Everyone was so stoked, and then it came out, and they were like, "Wait, I can't play it unless I can play it once a day, basically."
Like what?
Without paying? Well, I'm not playing that anymore.
Yeah, that quickly. Nobody plays Plants vs Zombies 2. No,
that game died a long time ago, I'm sure. They're working on the next Sims game, Sims 5, which apparently is going to be multiplayer, from the rumors.
I wonder how that's gonna work though. Like, I'm skeptical of a multiplayer Sims because
they had one before.
It sounds like pure chaos.
It does. For those that don't remember, when they released the original Sims game, I think it was before they released Sims 2, they had the Sims Online as a game.
I think I vaguely remember.
And it failed horribly, as I'm sure you can imagine human beings, when they're given access to tools where you'd be able to create your own people and put them in situations that you want to put them in, it got dark real quick.
Yeah, and, a lot of players that just like to drown Sims.
It got way darker than that, my friend. It got real dark.
Sure.
So I don't know. We'll see. They haven't revealed it yet. They're still supporting Sims 4, which is shocking. They just revealed. They just sold a new expansion pack for the game. Like there's
wasn't it that they? I don't know if it's the most recent, but I know they recently did like the toddler infant update thing.
How many expansions does 4 have at this point? Like 50?
Way too many.
So crazy.
That's the one thing about Sims that I really dislike is that it just they have this blank slate game and then they just keep adding expansion after expansion. It's like you're buying the game for this much and then you're buying expansions that are just like almost paying for another game, but it's just
additive, yeah. And I can't imagine how many gigabytes that game is at this point with every expansion pack included. It's like a terabyte big. I should look that up. How big is the Sims 4?
Like there's people with the whole collection, so
yeah. How big is the Sims 4 with all expansions? No way.
What's it saying?
25 gigs. There's no way. That's bull.
Yeah.
It's gotta be way bigger than that. Well, I can't find it at a glance, but it sounds like it's, I mean, it's gotta be huge. It's gotta be massive.
Yeah.
Where were we with the list? I'm sure they're working on a new Need for Speed. Rest in peace, Criterion. The makers of the best racing game of all time, Burnout 3, was relegated to making average as hell Need for Speed games. Well, I don't know what happened. Infuriating. Burnout 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, and they're like, nah, you don't need to work on Burnout anymore. Work on Need for Speed. I'm sure Need for Speed has its audience, but I couldn't care any less.
Yeah.
They're also working on a Star Wars strategy game of some kind. Don't know specifics about that. And I'm sure they're also working on Battlefield 3000 or, whatever the crap is the next one's going to be.
I could be interested in a Star Wars strategy game, but I have to see it to know, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. I have no clue what that is. I mean, I remember there being Star Wars strategy games like Empire at War, and some others that, long time ago. It's been a while since they've done that. So, that's about it for EA that I could think of. So let's move on to Ubisoft, who is just had a showcase of their own that sucked. It was dumb and awful. So we'll talk about more about it next week, but spoiler alert, it sucked. I'll put it to you this way. I watched the whole thing, and at the end of it, I was like, I could have been doing something else with my time.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was real bad. But they do have Star Wars Outlaws coming, which looks fantastic. That's the third-person open world game where you're kind of like Han Solo doing bounty hunting, and I'm sure there's a story to it, but that's kind of the gist of it. Looks really good, visually gorgeous. We'll see how it turns out. Ubisoft's kind of hit and miss when it comes to anything other than Assassin's Creed. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. They've got Assassin's Creed Shadows, which looks good. They just revealed that as well, and it looks good. I'm an Assassin's Creed day one, purchaser, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it. The gameplay didn't blow me away though.
Just Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it's Assassin's Creed in Japan. Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't blow me away the way I thought it was going to. So we'll see. I'm sure it'll be great. They're also working on Assassin's Creed Hex, which is just the code name for the game. We don't know what it actually is going to be. Assassin's Creed Shadows was previously known as Assassin's Creed Red. Hex is supposed to take place during like the Salem witch trials. That kind of era.
That's
which is pretty cool.
That could be fun.
So I'm assuming that's the one that's after Red. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So we'll see. They haven't shown anything from that game, so I don't know. I don't know if this game's even in development anymore, but Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think it's been teased for over a decade at this point. They've shown gameplay from it, and it's been quiet for a long time at this point. I remember it being like kind of an early access type project where they were talking to fans about, going through the whole development process. They were like getting feedback from fans constantly. Like there was a whole website dedicated to it and all this stuff. I don't know where it stands at this point because they haven't mentioned it in years.
Yeah.
So, don't know. That is a mystery game.
Do they just are they letting it die or who knows?
Yeah, I have no clue. It could be dead. Let me see if there's a website for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like, is there even like a Beyond Good and
Evil? That would be telling.
Okay, they have an official site for Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's still active, apparently.
Yeah.
Latest news. Oh my god. Nothing's been posted since 2020.
Oh no. That is not good news.
However, you can still sign up for that program. They call it the Space Monkey program. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll put it to you this way. This is how bad it is for this game.
That is very mysterious. that makes me very nervous for that.
Yeah. This is going to make you more nervous. So on the website, it says, we have not defined what gaming platforms Beyond Good and Evil 2 will release on and aren't ready for a beta phase yet. However, we would like to gauge what your preferred platform is. And their list is Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. So, yeah, doesn't look good for that game. But it's weird that the website's still up there and hasn't been updated in 4 years. Like what? Like, why hasn't the website been taken down?
Is it tabled, but they still want to go back to it?
Maybe. Maybe they have just like a tiny team working on it in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know. Very strange.
Yeah.
The Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake was shown off, I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago.
There's a lot of fans of Prince of Persia.
Yep. The remake, when they originally showed it, looked horrible. It looked like a PlayStation 2 game. The feedback was atrocious, and then they went dark. And then at this Ubisoft showcase that just happened, they teased it with a new logo. Didn't show any gameplay, and all it said was 2026. So my assumption is that they scrapped that game entirely and started from scratch after the reaction that it got from fans in the original.
But if they're still not showing gameplay any at all,
they showed gameplay on the original reveal.
Yeah,
and it got horrible feedback because it looked so.
Did they not change the gameplay though? Like,
yeah, who knows? I have no clue what this is going to be now. But they've rededicated themselves to it by saying it's coming in 2026. Why they felt the need to say that it's coming in 2.5 years?
Yeah,
that I don't understand. Or 2 years, we'll see.
Yeah.
They also have an Anno game in development. I can't believe that's a series. Do people actually play Anno?
I have no idea.
It's like their version of SimCity, basically, from what I know. But there's lots of games in that series at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
I have never played. Like, I've seen this game, but
yeah, someone's playing it. I don't know who, but someone's playing it.
Apparently.
Yeah, nobody I know or see online is playing it, but it's apparently selling well enough to make constantly new versions.
I've never been super into like city building type games though, so Fair. I mean, I'm not the market, but
Fair. I am definitely the market. I love City Skylines absorbed me for like 100 hours, so
yeah.
I'm definitely the audience for it, but I've never played an Anno game.
Like,
maybe I'll play this one.
City builder, I don't
know. They're also working on the Division 3. They canceled, I think, the Division Heartlands, I think it was called, which I think was a mobile game or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge Division guy, so I don't have much to say on that front.
Yeah.
And then they've teased about 1,000 times a new Splinter Cell, and still haven't, outwardly said that it's coming. But
Splinter Cell could be really good.
Yeah, the last Splinter Cell game we had was on PS3.
Yeah.
Crazy. Wow. A generation and a half has gone by with no new Splinter Cell game. It's bonkers. We need a new one, guys. Come on, Ubisoft. Let's go. So that's Ubisoft. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Cool.
Not a lot.
Not a lot going on with them. They're pretty quiet. Yeah. And, I don't know what's going on with them. They're not doing well, I don't think.
Yeah, just waiting for more Assassin's Creed from them, I guess.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm waiting for Assassin's Creed and then that Star Wars Outlaws game.
Yeah,
that's basically all I'm waiting for from them. Next up is Take-Two / 2K / Rockstar. They're kind of all the same umbrella. So obviously they have Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out in 2025. Obviously that's going to be a monumental, insane, I don't like cultural phenomenon that game is going to be.
Yeah.
That game has the biggest budget of any game ever made.
It's got to be something huge, something.
If we've seen the trailer, it looks gorgeous as hell. Yeah, I that game's going to be huge. Like
yeah. I loved 5, so
5 was great. I loved 4. I love 5. Obviously, GTA Online is just a powerhouse of money.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're going to continue GTA. I don't know what they're going to do with that though. Are they going to do like a GTA Online? Like it's just going to kind of continue, or are they going to do like GTA Online 2? And people,
yeah,
and people are going to go bananas. I don't know. But that game's coming in 2025, and it's going to be huge. I think the budget it was like $2 billion or something like that. Like it's the most expensive game of all time. I'm pretty sure. Let me look it up real quick. GTA 6 budget. Yeah, $2 billion.
Should be a massive game.
Yeah, it's the most expensive game of all time. Just crazy. To put that into context for people who don't follow the industry a whole lot, Spider-Man 2 was around $300 million.
Yeah.
So this game is like
this is
6 or 7 times bigger in cost. Like it's crazy, and they can afford it. Obviously, GTA 5 is like one of the best-selling games of all time. So, what else they got going on over there? We don't know anything else really. They're not talking a whole lot. I assume they're probably working on Mafia 4, probably another BioShock, probably another Borderlands, and probably Midnight Suns 2, since Midnight Suns did so well.
What they should be doing is working on Bully, remastering Bully. I think would be amazing.
Agreed. They did do a Bully. I think they did a Bully remaster, but it was just like an up-res. It wasn't a remake.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just.
I would love a Bully remake. That would be cool. Because I missed that game. Like that was one of those games where I just didn't play it. It passed me by.
Yeah.
And everyone said like, "Oh, you have to play Bully," and I went back and tried to play it, and it was too much time had passed, right?
Yeah.
But I've heard it's amazing.
No, Bully was great. Like if they did a remake, it would be incredible. Like I'm fully confident, like a remake would go so
or
hard.
Heck, just do a sequel, Bully 2.
Yeah.
So that's Take-Two /2K /Rockstar. Next up is Square Enix, who recently revealed that they're having a lot of financial issues over there. They and it's not really a shock to me. I didn't put it in the document here for us, but if you look at the release schedule for games in 2023, they released something like 25, 30 games last year. And they're all RPGs.
Yeah. I mean, RPG is their strong suit, though, so.
It is, but the problem is that Square Enix and all of its games are always targeting the same audience.
Yeah.
Right? So would you buy 25 100-hour RPGs in a year? Do you know anybody who would? Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Like you're gonna pick 3 or 4, right? That are like your top dudes, right? Like, you're gonna pick your Dragon Quest, you're gonna pick your Final Fantasy, you're gonna pick
Baldur's Gate,
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, but you're not gonna pick the other 30 games that they released because you just don't have the time. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So apparently what they're doing is they're reevaluating their release schedule and they're focusing on fewer, higher quality games.
Yeah.
That's their motive going forward, which I think is a really good idea.
I think that'll work better for them.
I think it will too. And I think it's going to suck for a lot of smaller games, like Octopath Traveler is a really popular game, but I don't think you're going to see a sequel to that after this reevaluation.
Yeah,
some of those smaller games are just going to go
for a while at least.
Yeah, they're going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do know that they're working on is Visions of Mana, which comes out in July, I want to say. Could be wrong. It's soon. Kingdom Hearts 4, we know that's been announced.
Kingdom Hearts 4 hopefully is where they take it more mature, supposedly more mature audiences for like delving more into Final Fantasy-esque worlds. And
yeah, I don't know what happened with that series, man. That series got drunk.
Yeah,
I remember Kingdom Hearts 1 going like, oh, it's so cool with the Final Fantasy and the Disney characters. And Kingdom Hearts 2 was like, yeah, this is even better. This is really good. And then Kingdom Hearts 3 was like,
it's because Disney has their paws in it, and they're like, no, we need to keep Disney. You need to put Frozen in it now.
yeah. Was there any Final Fantasy characters in 3?
I think it was like all Disney pretty much.
I'm pretty sure it was just Sora and those characters in the Heartless.
Still in it? I don't even remember.
Who?
Was Leon, at least Leon Squall, was he still there? I don't remember seeing
I don't know.
Actually.
Yeah. I didn't beat the game. I played it and I got like maybe halfway through and I was done. I found the gameplay was actually, like
when I got to the Frozen world, that put me on pause on that game.
Wow, that is where I stopped.
The weakest one. It was the weakest world.
That's where I stopped. Yeah, I couldn't handle it anymore. I'm like,
Frozen was just so poorly done.
I thought the gameplay was bad, honestly.
Yeah.
It felt like the game played itself most of the time.
Yeah.
It was cool visually and stylistically, but like I didn't feel like I was playing it. It felt like it was playing itself.
The pop-up abilities that was like Sora riding roller coasters, basically. Those things, it was like you're just watching a roller coaster. Like, what is?
Yeah, and at a certain point, when you get far enough into the game, you're like chaining those together.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're watching a cinematic for like 5 minutes.
The entire fight's just you cinematic.
Yeah. I didn't.
We need to go back to Kingdom Hearts 2's gameplay because that was their peak gameplay, I think.
Agreed. And then they had all those like mobile, or not mobile, but handheld game spinoffs. Birth by Sleep and
Birth by Sleep.
999 days divided by 6. Just bonkers names. Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts lore is crazy.
It's so weird. Yeah. And it was I always wondered like who is their target audience? Because it's like I felt like it was for kids originally.
It was supposed to like scale with the audience, so like I was playing it when I was a kid. Kingdom Hearts 2 felt like it scaled with me, and then 3 just kind of like failed to scale with their audience.
Agreed. Agreed.
It's because of Disney. I blame Disney fully.
Yeah, we can blame Disney for a lot of failures. Unfortunately. What else are they working on at Square? Obviously, I'm sure they're working on Final Fantasy 17. Final Fantasy 16 was their most recent game, and it was phenomenal.
Yep.
Amazing game. So
I'm always excited for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, can't wait to see what they do next. And then they did announce that they're doing a remake of Dragon Quest III, but it's been delayed by several years at this point. So people are wondering if maybe they're remaking 1, 2, and 3 at this point.
Yeah. 1 and 2 are relatively small too, so I wonder if like they could combine the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Because
it could just be one big game, yeah.
I played Dragon Quest 1 and 2 and like you can finish those within like an hour, 2 hours.
Wow, really? I did not know that.
They're pretty small.
Like were they ever released in English?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. I feel like there was like a gap, where it was just a Japanese kind of.
There was for a while. Dragon Quest was really late coming over.
Yeah, it was because it's Dragon Warrior over there, right?
Yeah,
or it was.
Yeah.
So that's Square Enix. We don't really know what else they're doing. They sold Tomb Raider to someone else, so they don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else they're doing. And then finally we have Capcom. who we know is making Monster Hunter Wilds. Are you a Monster Hunter guy? I'm not.
Not really.
No.
Yeah. I want to get into it sometimes, and then I'm like, I don't know.
I've tried probably 1,000 times, and every time I'm like, this is just too much. It's so complicated to me. Yeah, never been a thing for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, they are probably still working on Resident Evil remakes. The only ones that have not been remade at this point are 1, 0, Code Veronica, and I think there's another one. I think there was 2 Dreamcast games, Resident Evil games. I think it was Code Veronica and something else. So I'm assuming it will be one of those.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know why they're avoiding remaking 1.
Yeah,
they did 2, and then they 3, and then 4. What?
Like, come on.
Yeah, like why did you not make the original?
Yeah.
A lot of people said it was because they already remade it on GameCube, and I'm like, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
I don't got remake it. Come on.
It was GameCube, like.
Yeah, like it was so long ago. So who knows? And I'm sure they're making Resident Evil 9. 8 was finished, but they left it with a very clear sequel, ending. So I'm sure they're working on 9.
Gotta be.
And then Devil May Cry has been pretty quiet, so maybe they're working on 6. I think has Street Fighter 6 already come out? Or are they still working on that? I don't even know.
Has it?
Street Fighter 6. Release. Yeah, it's already out. It came out a year ago, so they got that out now.
I thought so. I know my older sibling was really excited about it. So
yeah. So yeah, that's Capcom. Any other companies or any other entities that we may have left out? I think I covered all the big ones.
I think we got all the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So, I think the state of the industry itself at this point is it's going pretty well. It's very weird. I will say that there's a lot of weird stuff going on with like PlayStation releasing games on Nintendo and Xbox releasing games on PlayStation, and so vice versa. The cross generation stuff we talked about, that's infuriating that we're still making games for PS4 and Xbox One. But at the same time, we are getting still great games, even if they're cross-gen. They're still fantastic experiences, and there's a lot to look forward to right now. My future games list right now is huge.
Yeah,
like 40 games plus. So there's a lot to look forward to, whether or not these consoles were worth it or not. There's still fantastic games coming out. Before we sign off, one of our staples of the show before we sign off is looking at the worst game title on the PlayStation Store or Switch Store or Xbox Store of the week, because holy crap, there is some garbage released on these stores. I mean, Steam's bad. But Steam's been bad for a long time.
Yeah.
But there is no reason for a game called Difficult Climbing Game to be released on PlayStation. And it's not even capitalized correctly. It is difficult with a capital D, climbing with a capital C, and game with a lowercase g. Difficult Climbing Game. And it's just a picture, the logo is just a picture of a incomplete, textureless man hanging off of a rock.
I wonder what that game's about.
It currently has a 2-star rating, which is shockingly high. It is worth $13 of your hard-earned money. And there are no screenshots of the game available.
That game's just trying to hop off of the getting over it trend a while ago. They're just That's what it is, I think.
Yeah, that's
Getting
probably what
over
that is.
it.
But like, why does it need to be? Why does it need to be here? Let's look at the description of the game before we go. Difficult climbing game offers a more streamlined and easier climbing experience compared to other climbing games, yet it remains captivating. Use shifts to grab and the up to lift yourself to the top. Great English, guys. Reach the summit in record time and see your name rise on the leaderboard. Let's see who's the fastest climber in the world. This game is the easiest and fastest about climbing. Okay then.
Easiest and fastest, huh?
Easiest and fastest game about climbing. And there's some point forms here. Various beautiful settings. Well, I don't know about that. That texture on that man looked pretty weak. No distractions, pure gameplay. Sure. A non-violent, relaxing atmosphere. Climb to the top, fall into the water, and try again. Leaderboard to track your achievements. Yeah, we need that on PlayStation 5, bro. Good
Definitely
lord.
need that.
Unreal. Anyway.
Getting over it was too hard. I want to play the climbing game.
I want to play difficult climbing game. Even though I didn't even realize this. It's called difficult climbing game, and in the description it says it's the easiest climbing game ever created. It's a relaxing atmosphere, but it's called difficult climbing game.
Beautiful.
Oh Lord, what will we ever do with these games? Anyway, thank you all for listening. If you're still here with us, we greatly appreciate it. If you want to follow either of us on Twitter, I am at tj.the.leo. Say that 10 times fast. And you are at Bailstorm.
Yes.
We're going to have the links in the description, so you can go directly to our profiles. Also, if you want to submit your questions or just want to say hi, email us at co.op.podcasts@gmail.com. And that's where our reader mail will go. co.op.podcasts@gmail.com. Do you have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, this was fun. Had a blast.
Yeah, lots to talk about. And next week, we'll be talking about Summer Games Fest, where they revealed like 50 games. So we'll have plenty to talk about then, and more. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Who's out there? Welcome aboard, and we'll see you next week. Ciao.